Strickland.
Strickland for three. And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Bill Callahan fan club president, Jake Bakovic.
I love Billy's team.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach.
Hold up.
It's a new era here on the block. Welcome. It is June 2nd. It is Thursday. We are excited because Eric Strickland is here. He is in studio. He is home, and he's probably a little bit tired after driving quite a bit. But we'd like to welcome you back to Nebraska, and can't say any more than that. We're very excited.
Man, listen, you're not the only one excited. I arrived last night, got some good sleep so I can be revived today.
Oh, nice.
There was this one place that I was looking for, bro. And I had been kind of communicating with this wonderful lady, Amanda Avenue, out there in Gretna. There's a place that I really like.
Oh, let's spot
and
to
I
rest your
think
head.
the location, no, this is the place I'm looking to live.
Oh, to live. Okay, I see what you're saying.
So I just wanted to go check it out, and I show up, and that's how tight Amanda is about her business. I show up, and it's like there's no way you could know that I'm who I am or arriving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She walks up, and she's like, I'm like, you must be Amanda. She says, no, you must be Eric. And we, showed me around the place. And listen, so right before we're getting on the block, she calls me and's like, everything's been approved. You're good to go. We'll get you set up for tomorrow. I've got a place to live.
Oh, man, it's all falling together.
It's falling together, man. It's a blessing.
You have
Amanda Avenue. Shout out to Amanda Avenue out there in Gretna. Took good care of your boy, E. Strick. All of the staff out there with Selden. Great people.
Do you have your U-Haul here in the parking lot? Is that where it is right now?
No, it's actually outside of my best friend's house, and I think you know who he is.
Yeah.
He had a little space for me, a little extra room. And so I was trying to wait. That's really the whole thing about it, Bach. I came in early. I was going to kind of make it a nice little road trip and, stop maybe in New Orleans and, maybe stop through Dallas and then come up. And then I was just like 25, 26 hours, 20 hours. Give me a couple of more days to do what I just did today to meet and kind of figure it out. Instead of getting here, having to unload the truck, throw it in a storage. Now I literally can go right to the place tomorrow or Saturday. I don't want to be too tired on the block. I love the block, so I don't want to be too tired. But go at least Saturday morning and drop my stuff off and dump it off in the new location.
Yeah, that's gonna work out nice and well for you. We're glad that you're back.
Man,
can't wait to. Yeah,
Buck, I was riding, rolling, had the car on the back. I felt like a trucker that was just enjoying the highway and the byway, and it was beautiful, man. I mean, no crazy storms. It looked like one was trying to pop up out there in St. Louis, but I kind of took a little nap at a little hotel early in the morning. Got up 3 hours, boom, hit back, nothing. And so it was good, man. I think I think everybody every now and then, Bach, should just hit the road and just really, because we've gotten away from that, right?
Yeah.
Like back in, you're a lot younger than Stricky, but back in the day, man, I remember those days, just really me and my pops and family, we would just kind of cook some chicken because, chicken could like be cold. You can eat it cold.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, throw some bread together and some snacks and some drinks and roll out, right? And then we got away from that. And so, I really do. I think probably once, maybe twice a year, I like to hit the road and just drive somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think now that I'm back here and I just got to observe, I just really got to look around a lot more than you normally do, because you normally just kind of be focused on whatever the task is at hand. I just found myself just kind of observing the beauty of our country and, places and cities and what makes them different. And, you know, even here riding to Lincoln today, just looking at just the landscape. And so I think every year I want to get an RV, rent an RV for about 14 days.
Yeah.
And just ride out.
Just road trip.
Yeah. And like the next one, I've already went east. So I've did it before. And I went east and kind of went, you know, the southern part of the country up to about DC area.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then kind of came back through the Tennessee area. And this next one, I want to go west. I want to go south, you know, the southern sector through
Southwest.
Texas, you know, New Mexico, hit Phoenix, hit the Grand Canyon, and then go up the Pacific Coast
Maybe
Highway.
see Vegas there for a second.
Well, Pacific Coast first.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then come back through Utah, Tahoe, down into Vegas and shoot on back.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too bad. Did you have any close calls with animal crossing the road or anything?
Listen, I saw a lot of deer that were laid out. And normally they come out at night, right?
Yeah.
They were laid out and across, but I didn't get into that Midwest sector. So I was more in the city sectors. Before in the daytime. So, you know, obviously I wasn't going to have to deal with that, but I definitely saw some deer laying on the side, some armadillos and all that crazy stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's good news. Nothing went wrong on the way here. And I agree with you. It is, you know, did you have your cell phone turned off? Did you have the beats going, or did you just kind of try to like, I don't know, just free your mind, I suppose, while you're driving?
So you have those moments of quiet. Yeah, you'll have that at certain points. Obviously I was in the U-Haul. So, you know, other than trying to log into stations, what I did was I ended up setting up my iPad in a manner to where it was some visibility. So I, you know, had videos on it sometimes, watch YouTube sometimes, throw a movie on sometimes, not where I'm sitting there just looking at the screen, but you know, you get a glance if there's a, you know, you kind of hear something, you kind of get a glance and, you know, you're back at it. But yeah, it was a lot of that, few phone calls, talking to friends. And thanks to my friends, you know, Tim Grayman, there was a couple other friends that reached out, you know. So it was good, man. It was good. Thanks to all those friends that reached out, man, and just checked on me, made sure I was good, and you know I was getting rest or I was, you know, awake. So that's pretty dope, man. When you got good friends like that.
Yeah, somebody is bringing up that it was it kind of tough to fill up the tank every time the gas.
Listen,
prices.
my boy, I don't care if it's unleaded or not. I'm glad it wasn't diesel. Like I'm glad it was unleaded, you know, regular.
Yeah.
But no, to fill that piece up, man, it was a good 150 a pop.
Oh my goodness.
Minimum.
Yeah.
You know, and if I let it kind of run down, sometimes I was kind of one time I got scary boxer.
You tested it.
So no, where was I? I was in, I want to say it was kind of Missouri, Kentucky. It was kind of this little kind of sector where Illinois, it was kind of one of these where you could kind of go Illinois, Carbondale area.
Oh yeah.
Where, so I think I was on 27 and there was not stop traffic. Like the traffic was and you know me, I'm like, I've got to dip. I've got to figure out how to get around this. And I saw like 55 was over here, but it called me to have to kind of go off the beaten path a little bit. And I did that and checked my gauge and was like, ooh, I need to find a spot. And I literally found a spot just in time, but it was like 170 something.
Oh yeah.
So I had to fill up. You're getting like 8 miles to the gallon,
right? And
and I had to fill up. I would have to say at least 8 times.
Oh my, yeah, that's too bad. But it's part of the deal, you know.
It's part of it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But here that's why I decided to do it myself. Like I'm like, listen, I could have paid somebody to do it.
Yeah.
The guy that actually took me down to Florida, I had him drive it. You know, I paid him like $1,500. Then gas, and then a night hotel, and then I had to fly him back. So I would have had to fly him.
Yeah, you'd add
to
a lot
Orlando,
more costs here.
Get a ticket, and you know, ticket prices right now isn't like great.
Plane
it's
tickets?
tough to find. Yeah.
So
you're looking at another $1,000 or so on top of that, the 15 on top of that, gas, and you're talking about hotel for the night and food.
Yeah.
So I said, just do that yourself. Save that. I'm being kind of frugal.
Yeah, especially since you needed an open road. You felt like the need for the open road
man.
too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. I
Felt
bet
like Willie Nelson, my boy.
I bet you're a little bit glad that it's over, though.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not done driving for now.
Some people are surprised I did it in the time I did it. I think I slept maybe 3-4 hours.
Oh wow, yeah.
Total, and the rest I rode out.
Wow, yeah, I wouldn't do that. I definitely need to sleep myself. While over the weekend, I suppose we haven't had you on the last couple of days.
Man. What's been going on the block?
Yeah, there's been a few things going on. Specifically, not a surprise, as we kind of knew. Lat Main had made his decision a few days prior, but now Trey McGowan's going pro. Yeah, what do you think about it? We've obviously, I think we've all kind of felt like that was the way that it was leaning towards, so we didn't have to necessarily prepare for this. Oh no, it's a big loss. But yesterday was the day where a lot of guys, it was kind of like the last day to withdraw your name. So it's official. Trey McGowan's is off to the pros and won't be here to help out Nebraska anymore. And a lot of people probably saw that coming with Bryce leaving and just his age, the injuries, and all that stuff. His athleticism. We saw him at a Lakers workout. What do you think his chances are to get going somewhere at the NBA level?
Well, before I get into that, a couple people on the text line are funny. Shout out to Big Frank. He says, "Come on, Strick." He says, "Do you really think people are going to be going on road trips with the price of gas right now?" I feel you. I absolutely understand. It was a necessity for me, so unfortunately I had to do it.
And it's summer, so they always jack the prices up in the summer.
And that time in May, it normally goes up anyway. And then Ben comes out and says, I've driven to from Nebraska to California and back several times, and the desert is absolutely stunning. That's why I want to make that trip. So, nonetheless, we're talking about our guy, McGowan's, Trey. We've talked about that before, right?
Right.
And I think Trey has tremendous potential to make it. I would venture to say the best way of, if I could paint a picture to it, and it's sad that he's not playing right now. Shout out to Gary Payton II and his dad, who was the biggest trash talker in the NBA. I think I might have told a story about him on the block before. But Gary Payton II, he reminds me of him. Gary Payton II, coming out of college, was a very streak shooter. Not much of a consistency in his jumper. Great defense, hands, moves feet, strong, had all of those components, and just really struggled to break through. Spent a lot of, I would say good 4 or 5 years in the G League, and then he finally found the right fit. I can see Trey McGowan's having that same trek unless he finds himself on a team. And I would say it could possibly happen in 3 years at the earliest for Trey, or it can be on the same path of Gary Payton II. I think, again, I felt Trey's inconsistencies with his jumper is going to be a limiting thing for him. It's going to either be that it's a team that just loves him and what he brings to the table defensively. The problem with that is that there are a lot of 3-and-D guys that have the capabilities and capacities to do both, right? So that's why I think there may be a hindrance as far as the time schedule, unless he lands with the perfect situation. Injuries happen, he gets a couple of call-ups, and he just sticks, right? Another example would be the Martin twins.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very good defenders. Get after you, strong, about the same size, athletic, but it took them some time as well, and they spent some time in the G League. So that's I wish him well. I hope that he does land. I think it's going to be tough. As long as he doesn't get frustrated and he understands the process that he's under, and he has good leadership and management and good agent that's really helping him through this process, because it can be very heart-wrenching. You know what I mean? You feel like you're not wanted sometimes, and you feel you bring something to the table and just no one wants what you have to offer. So that can really break down your ego a little bit. But if he stands through the process, I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I mean, and again, his numbers aren't going to jump out to you. Only averaged
No.
like 7 and 4 this past year. Obviously, was dealing with that injury. His high for his career at Nebraska averaged 10.7 his junior season, I suppose, or whatever that would be. It's hard to say these days with what year it is, but it's third season. His freshman season actually at Pittsburgh he averaged 11.6 points per game. But you could always see the athleticism was there. It was fun, every once in a while. I mean, he was not shying down from going for the big dunk. He was looking to posterize somebody. So the athleticism is something that can translate. I know a lot of people would describe it as an outsider's chance, and I think that's the case too. Do you think his relationship with his brother, who's at least going to get a look for and maybe a first round draft pick, maybe early second, whatever the case may be, he's going to be a somewhat of a prized possession within an organization as far as a guy with upside? Do you think that can help him, or is that not going to do too much? I mean, you talk about the inner workings of rubbing elbows and having a connection and all that. Maybe it can help, but at the same time, we didn't see Blake's Griffin Taylor make it. We didn't see, LiAngelo's not in the NBA. So, it's going to take a little bit more than that, but at least he has the athleticism and a connection. Do you think that connection can help?
I mean, it's always good to have a connection. I mean, because, so here's how it worked for me. I don't know how he did in his pre-combine, because I don't think he went to the combine.
Right. No.
He probably went to Portsmouth. I'm willing to venture to say he went to Portsmouth. I don't know how he did there. He's going to get a look at Summer League. So there's going to be a couple opportunities that are going to present himself. And I think if you enter into that process, understanding that you're not playing for the team that you're playing for 32. And when you play as if your life depends on it, not for that team. Because when I went to camp, I played with New Jersey, who had just drafted Kerry Kittles, and they were stacked. They had Jason Kidd and, all of that crew, right? I also went to Indiana, who had Travis Best, Mark Jackson, and they were trying to force me. Remember, I'm a player. I wasn't a traditional point guard.
Right.
So it really was the best fit for me. And I played terrible. I was sick at Portsmouth. I was throwing up blood. I was weak. I didn't feel I played good at all. I just said, I'm hustling. I'm going to scrap. I'm going to dive. I'm going to hustle. And it was one guy by the name of Ron Akers that was sitting up in the stands that just liked what I had to bring to the table. One guy. And he calls me up and says, hey, we want to bring you to vet camp. That's what he's got to look for. He's got to play with that type of, fervor and passion as if his life depended on it. Not that he's playing for that team, but that he's playing for 32.
Yeah, I can't wait to at least see it and kind of follow his path. Probably, like you said, in summer ball and just kind of see, where it lands. Do you think that is obviously the one skill? I mean, and maybe you could get to the NBA based on really specializing in a skill. You obviously got to have, everything pretty well rounded out and not be terrible at stuff. But do you think that his on-ball defense is up to snuff to cover, to be kind of a specialty player in that way in the NBA? Or do you think that it's not quite there yet?
I want to say this, and this is why I think he's 3 years possibly.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they're letting the play, he's coming in at the right time for the way and the style that he plays. Very reminiscent to my style, physical.
Yeah.
Right. He's coming in at the perfect time that they're now allowing defenders to play with a little more physicality, i.e. Marcus Smart-ish.
Yeah.
Right. So if he can do that and show that kind of physical presence, because here's why. A lot of the guards that are coming out of college, they're not used to that. So if he can be effective in disruption and disrupting, offensive set, because disrupting is not necessarily getting steals. Disrupting is, in the NBA, disruption is 24 seconds, taking that clock down, not allowing them. So basically with 94 feet pressure, they're barely getting over with the shot clock, at the 16-second. Now trying to get into a set, you're forcing them, you're at 10 seconds. That's disruption, right? if he plays with that type of passion and fervor, now they can't get into nothing quick enough. You got to force them into a bad opportunity and shot. If he can show that with the physicality, then he may have a chance to land some.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely leaning on the defense. Is definitely his path, and we'll see if he gets a chance. I don't know how it reflects well on Nebraska in neither of the case, because then it would be, if he does make it to the NBA, then, you know, with Delano Banton, you would have had 2 on that team and then 2 on the Bryce, you know, having the Browns brothers. But either way, it's not a question all the way of talent at Nebraska. We know they've had at least a little bit of it. They just haven't been able to get it together. How do you think that this decision, does it help, or, I mean, obviously not help, but does it hurt Nebraska too much? Outside of the idea that we kind of already knew it was going to happen, do you think that he'd be on par for a big jump this final season, or do you think that this was, you know, he'd be about what he was at Nebraska?
Well, I think he would have had a really good opportunity to be the guy, you know, on both sides of the ball. I don't think there's nothing that he did ultimately wrong. I think his decision making was affected because he made bad decisions, sometimes overpress. I mean, I know I've been there. I've done that where, you know, stuff shuts down and you try to overdo something and you're diving into 2 and 3 defenders thinking you're gonna, no, you don't do that. I mean, I don't think I did that too much. I might have pulled up for a mid-range or something, but that same thing. I think for him, those aspects hurt: the injury, the time off, not being able to show the consistencies. And so he comes into a situation very similar to me, people saying streaky shooter, too small, doesn't play point. And you got all these things that people are, so you've got to dispel that, but you don't have enough time to dispel that. You don't want to go into summer league trying to force and
do it all at once.
You know what I'm saying? So he's gotta really rely, make good decisions. And if he stays focused on the defense, making good decisions, and when the opportunity presents, that's what a team will be like. I like him. Because guys, this is what scares me about Bryce, right?
Yeah.
Bryce is, if anybody online right now has an opportunity to just go and watch combine workouts, if his agent or people around him didn't tell him about preparation and what that's going to be like, I have a fear that he kind of comes in with a nonchalant coolness, and that's not going to work. So I got scared that he's going to try to go into summer league, or he's going to go try to do something, or in his workouts or in his 5-on-5 sessions, that he's trying to prove, which you never look good trying to prove. You look good because there's no one going to expect, Bryce, you're not going to be in the top lottery.
Right.
So there's nobody going to be expecting you to become something. And unless you find the right situation like Jordan Poole, where Klay Thompson's out, now you're going to get an opportunity. Unless that happens, you trying to go in there, and Joe Forte, I told you about that Boston situation. Him was trying to do that. You end up forcing, missing, and then you're not prepared. Then you're gonna do a disservice to yourself.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the future holds for the McGowans. It was a fun year, at least, or 2 years, especially for Trey there. Individually, not so much for the teams, and we'll see if Nebraska can turn that around going forward too. As obviously, it's interesting though that Nebraska's at least had those guys on campus, just hasn't been able to turn it around and win. We're talking the other day too, like, between baseball, football, and basketball, Nebraska did have the worst winning percentage of the Power 5 teams that didn't make the tournament or the postseason in any of them. But all that being said, it was actually kind of, at least you kind of had fun throughout it, right? I mean, the 3-9 season, it can only be so much fun, but at least there was a lot of close games and national TV audience all the time. And for the basketball side, at least you had your 5-star recruit. At least you had some athleticism there. It would have been nice to see if they could have better rounded that season out with Trey for a little bit longer. But in any case, let's see if Kevin Meyer is in the hallway. I don't know if I saw him yet, but it is Thirsty Thursday, so we'll see.
I hope so.
If he's here, it's time for Thirsty Thursday. If not,
we'll long drive I had.
Yeah, you're ready for a drink. We'll do that next here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
He's out there.
Hi, this is Dave Osted from Osted's Golf. Let us make this your best season yet. Voted a top 100 fitter by Golf Digest, our master fitters have been trained by the same guys that build clubs for PGA pros like Rory, Tiger, DJ, and Jordan. Have old clubs? Trade them in Osted's Value Guide, or have our club specialists get your clubs swinging like new. Go to our website and make your fitting appointment. You're a click away from a better golf game. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. Springtime is here, and that means you're outside more in nice weather and maybe even having garage parties with neighbors. The drink of this spring and summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs and 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gummies. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Beatrice Bakery. They ship cakes all over the country. True story. But take a look inside their shop and you'd have no idea. This is a Nebraska product through and through. Not some massive production plant. Local people making delicious cake just for you. So go see them in their new storefront location in downtown Beatrice. Grab some grandma's fruit cake, some chocolate rum cake, or my favorite, the turtle nut cake. And say hi to Rick and the crew. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The days of internet contracts and heavy fine print are over. It's time to experience hassle-free service with no contracts or hidden fees. That's the Allo promise. Allo Communications provides fiber internet, TV, and phone services with fair and no-nonsense pricing. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, 24/7 local support 365 days a year, and a monthly bill you can count on. Don't settle for gimmicks. Settle for hassle-free with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/hassle-free.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association. In partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Why wait until Friday to start your weekend?
Go ahead, start right now.
You're thirsty now, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to help you stock up.
Just in time for the weekend when I like to hit the clubs.
Time to broaden your horizons and try some new wine and beer. It's Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle.
Strick's over here trying to take a picture.
Yeah,
messing up the timing.
Messing up the timing and the flow. I'm already slow.
There we go.
He's still a little sleep deprived from his road trip.
Said only slept like 3 to 4 hours for the whole trip. So that's kind of crazy. It is time for Thirsty Thursday here on 93.7 The Ticket with Myers Cork in Bottle. Kevin Myers stopping in. How are things going down at the shop?
It's going real good. You know, we've been talking about willing spring/summer into existence. We finally did it. Finally got a couple of beautiful days where it's not blowing 25, 30 miles an hour. It's not 90 degrees. Sun's out. It's this is what we've been waiting for. So all of our hard work and dedication and positive energy is finally paying off.
And it's a nice day outside. It's June. We're ready to roll. Strick's in town. Nate Brennan's in here with us, and of course that voice you hear is Kevin Meyer of Myers Cork and Bottle. What are we going to start with today? We usually start with the wine, or
let's start with the beer.
Let's start with the beer. Okay.
It may or may not set up the wine very well, but I think it should be kind of a fun setup here. So what we're having is a collaboration beer from our good friends here at Cosmic Eye, right here in good old Lincoln, Nebraska. But it's a collab with a brewery called Liquid Courage, and another brewery called Sailor's Grave. So, and this is a session IPA, which means that it is lower ABV, which also generally means a little lower cal as well. And it's also got grapefruit juice in it. So not only is it
so it's good for you.
It's good for you. And but you know, it's again, like, so we're in lawn mowing season, we're in fishing boat season, we're in lake season, we're sitting around the campfire season. And so sometimes you want something a little bit lighter, a little more refreshing, not quite so heavy and weigh you down. And that's what this is all about. And a super cool can too, by the way.
It is. I can't quite tell. It's like aliens are in space. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but it looks very cool, very colorful. And I think just it's always interesting to kind of, you know, we do this more with wine than the beer, but smell it beforehand. I could tell that I could smell a little bit of the grape. I can smell this.
You taste a little bit too.
Yeah, the beer smell, but it's hard to differentiate them for some reason. I don't know. It smells like both.
Well, what's interesting about IPA is a lot of times they have kind of a citrusy bitterness anyway, which kind of tastes like grapefruit. And so when you add grapefruit to something that already tastes like grapefruit, it's, you know, it makes for an interesting combination. And it's, you know, you can tell it's that tart, and it's a natural grapefruit flavor. It's natural grapefruit juice. It's not like a, you know, grapefruit candy or something along those lines. So citrusy, it's bitter, but yet it's light. These only come in at 5% ABV.
Yeah, that's
alcohol by volume. That is.
Which is good. That means you can drink more of them before you get in too much trouble, right?
That's right.
and it's not too filling, like you were saying. It very, very good. I like it.
Well, and I think this would be if you're a guy that doesn't really tend to favor like your standard Busch Light, Bud Light, Coors Light, type, light American lager. This is a beer with some flavor, some character, but yet isn't going to weigh you down at 5%.
It isn't gonna give you that pop, but it's gonna give you that woosah, right? That little woosah.
You can get away with saying stuff like that. Some of us can't, but yes, what he said.
Nate, what do you think of it?
I actually like it.
I actually like it.
It's good because when it comes to IPAs, I feel like they're very hit or miss. But this one has it's a very interesting taste. Like it doesn't taste like an IPA. I don't know what you
can definitely taste the grapefruit.
Yes,
yes. Just at the little back, it just a little pop at the back. Just right on the back end of it. It's
just the
really
finish.
Subtle.
Yep. A little bit of tart, a little bit of bitterness.
Right.
But it's clean and it's not heavy. It's a light tasting beer, and it looks pretty light in the glass too. I mean, it looks like a standard light beer.
But this is the one thing I've always wanted to know, Kevin. So it looks like a standard light beer. The ABV would maybe classify it as a light beer. What makes it an IPA? Like, how is that created?
Oh, that's a great question. So IPA stands for India Pale Ale. And the reason, not because any of the ingredients or the beers were ever made in India, but there was a special brewery in Great Britain that was along the path that the merchant ships would travel. and they would travel to India and they would trade for spices and tapestries and things like that. And the trouble is that the beer would spoil because of bacteria. Well, the one brewery upped the alcohol content by dry hopping the beer at the back end, and so therefore it became an IPA or an India Pale Ale because it was one of the few beers that would survive the trip. And so basically, it's an ale is a warm fermented beer, and then what makes it a pale ale or an IPA is that they dry hop it on the finish, nearing the end of fermentation, and it creates some more fermentable sugars. It adds some bitterness and increases the alcohol content a little bit, and that's what makes it an IPA.
Interesting.
How often do you have these the kind of combination, I forget the word that you use,
the collaboration
yeah,
more and more all the time. I think the rising tide raises all ships, and so when they find breweries that have similar philosophies or they match personalities, and they say, hey, let's make a beer together, it's just kind of a good friendship building, relationship building, and then you get to bring some product that isn't necessarily seen in distribution in our state from a brewery like Liquid Courage or Sailor's Grave, but you get to taste a little of their creativity in a local beer, so it's pretty cool. And a lot of times they'll do like a home and away series, right? So you come here, we'll make a beer together, then I'll come there to your brewery and we'll make a beer together, and
a little collabo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
can I collabo with you?
Absolutely.
Make an sticky beer or something like that.
We could probably figure something out. We did make a Myers cork and bottle beer once.
Did you really?
We did that.
Well, this an sticky brew. I mean, it's we just put it out there and let everybody just get lit. In a good way, responsibly, while you're sitting on your back patio.
That's right.
You're smoking a stogie or something.
The beer that we did, we called it a New Zealand Pale Ale, which basically the concept was that if you were to take a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, which tastes grapefruity because it has a high concentration of a compound called pyrazine, which is what makes grapefruit taste like they taste. And then if you were to take a New England style Pale Ale, which is sort of that, cloudy, hazy, fruity, and then and make a beer out of that. And so you take the wine and the beer concept and you put them together, and that's what we made, and it worked.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was damn good. And
did it sell good?
Yeah, we sold everything we made. Yeah,
out of there.
It was just a one.
Do
one
you
batch.
sell it? Okay, so that's a good question for me. For you. Do you bottle it? Do you can it?
We can.
Or do you just leave it in the
keg?
In the keg and just go at it?
Well, they did keg some of it. They did, I think.
So you do it, then you would sell it at your place.
Well, actually, what they did, they sold a little bit to a couple of places that we have relationships with, like at the time, Method Cycles. We did it for Lincoln Beer Week, and so we did a collab with Method Cycles and did our beer launch at their place, and then a couple other places got just limited, small kegs, and then everything else was canned that we sold by the 6-pack at the shop. But we have to figure out what we want to do with an sticky, like what you want that to taste like, what the base concept is.
I'm not what other good combos other than the grapefruit, like the tangerine-ish or
that would work.
Yeah, for the summer.
Yeah,
a little tangerine.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
With a little
Florida,
pop,
little Florida flavor.
I'm bringing the flavor, baby. I'm coming with a little sunshine.
I like it.
And then, but it's got to have a little pop on it. Just pop. Just a little bit on it.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Pop.
Hey. That's right.
You got to do the hand signal too. Little pop.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's settle down a little bit.
How well do those because my brother did this too, so I'm kind of interested. How well of a quality of beer can you get with one of those like home brewing type of kits?
Yeah, I think you can make great beer with those.
Yeah?
And
I've seen people do that in the basement.
You can make it as simple or as complex as you want. So a simple kit you already have the wort, which is basically it's a can that looks like a big can of motor oil, and it's thick like molasses. Then you add water and then you boil it. Then you put it in your fermenter and you pitch yeast into it. And so, and then the yeast will then consume the sugars and ferment into alcohol. At that time, the beer doesn't have any bubbles. It has to undergo a secondary fermentation in order to have CO2. And so you stir in what's called a priming sugar, and then you bottle it or can it, but you would bottle it because no one has a canning line at home. You know? And then it undergoes a secondary fermentation in the bottle, and then after a while, it's ready to go. So,
quick question, just for safety purposes. I've watched Breaking Bad, right? Great show. So I don't want to advocate for what Breaking Bad does, but
meth lab?
If you're going meth lab. So if you're going to do that at home, is there any risk to because he's got a baby, or is there any risk for somebody to just spark something? Like if I'm walking by and your house just goes up?
No, I don't think there's any explosion. But
Okay,
the biggest risk is letting while you're boiling your wort, it boiling over, because it can get excited really quick. And that happened. And it stinks, and it's a sticky mess, and it gets in your stove. And I did that. And my wife never let me brew again. She was like, if you're doing that, you're doing that outside, and you're going to get some sort of camp stove or whatever. And I just said, okay, never mind.
Tell us about the wine.
All right. Aviary Vineyards. This is a new featured winery of the month at Myers Cork and Bottle. This is their Cabernet. The vineyard is, the winery is located in Napa Valley. This is actually sourced fruit from not only Napa, but a few other areas as well. And this is one of the best bangs for your buck in a cab that I've seen come through our doors in quite some time. These are on sale for $15.99, and it drinks like a $30 bottle.
This is good, Kevin. Yeah.
You get
put E sticky in that.
I'll just cross off Aviary and put E sticky in there. But velvety smooth. It's rich without being edgy. You get the real pronounced black cherry and vanilla components of a good Cabernet. And like I said, it punches over its weight class.
That's
pretty
very
well.
good
This
wine.
is good. Yeah, it's very good.
Matter of fact, put me down for 2 coming home. What do they call them?
Coming home gifts.
Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
Home welcoming. Whatever. But yes.
Welcome home gifts.
Put me down for 2 of those. Stricky's gonna buy 2 for the house, and I'm gonna come and get them.
You can see
now
me.
that I'm here. I'm gonna come see you now that I'm here.
I'll be there 9 to 6
This is very good.
That is a very good wine. Yes, smooth.
Smells good too.
And so they do a red blend called Birds of Prey, which is also the same price. They do a Chardonnay, and what's really interesting about their Chardonnay is that it has a really clovey taste to it, which is kind of unique. Most Chardonnays, especially the California ones, are often described as being buttery. This one has like a real clovey spice to it. And then they also bought the former Joseph Phelps vineyard, and they make a wine called Le Mistral. And what Le Mistral is, the prevailing winds that flow through the Rhone Valley in France, where they make a special wine called Châteauneuf du Pape. Literally means New Palace of the Pope. And the French built this city to attract the Pope, to get him out of the Vatican, get him to spend more time in France centuries ago. And so this Le Mistral is an homage to that. Well, they bought it from Joseph Phelps, who is one of Napa's preeminent winemakers.
Is that Michael Phelps' uncle?
It's not, or at least not that I know of. But Joseph Phelps is most famous for a wine called Insignia. It's a Napa Valley red blend that is regarded by many as the best wine Napa Valley makes, and they're about $400 a pop. This is a red blend. They can use up to 13 different varietals to make the wine from. The big 3, though, are what they call the GSM blend, or Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvedre. And it makes a really interesting combination that goes well with everything. So anytime someone throws me a curveball like, yeah, my dad and I shot a wild boar, and we're something like that, we're gonna have a big game feed, or it's just something weird, well, there's no textbook for that. And so I usually, that's when I recommend that style of wine. And so normally those Le Mistral wines are north of 40 and $50. I think we've got them for 25.
Wow.
And then this Aviary cab at $15.99.
One quick question before we got to run. I see it says 219, right? That's the date.
That's the vintage. Yeah.
That's the vintage. Okay. What would change the dynamic of that from 219 and like a 215 or a 212? Why? What makes the difference? I know the price goes up the longer the aging on it, but
Sometimes
help me
it
to
can.
understand that.
Sure. Well, that's the vintage in which the grapes are grown and harvested. And, so you're not making Coca-Cola. Mother Nature gives you different ingredients every year.
Right.
And so some years you might have warmer temps. Some years you might have more rain. Some years you might be more consistent. Some years you might have more spikes. And so depending on what Mother Nature gave you that year is going to influence the wine. Now, the good thing about California is that every vintage since 12 has been outstanding. So 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 have been great. And the trouble is that fires have caused a problem. And then just yields have kind of gotten smaller in general. And so the prices have gone up.
Okay.
But overall quality, generally speaking, if you're worth your salt at all, even in a rough year, you'll still make good wine. You'll just probably make less of it. In a good year, you might make more, but yet it's still good.
Oh, fascinating stuff and delicious stuff again. I think one of the best wines we've had so far. So real quick, as we wrap things up, let us know what we can get, what we tried today, and what the prices are there.
Yeah, so Aviary Cabernet, $15.99, and then we had the collaborative beer called Marooned from Cosmic Eye, Liquid Courage, and Sailor's Grave. It is a grapefruit session IPA brewed right here in Lincoln.
Oh, great stuff. Once again, thanks for joining us on Thirsty Thursday today. He's Kevin Meyer of Meyer's Cork and Bottle. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it's time for a shootout with Strick. Strick is in the building and has been warming up. But your chance of $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings is coming up next. The first to call in, 402-464-5685. We'll have a chance at $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. That's coming up next here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket. Pop, pop.
Hey, batter, wings, splatter, splatter, splatter. Catch all this season's baseball action at one of your neighborhood Lincoln locations. Get League of Their Own wings, burgers, nachos, and ringers while catching all the action. Stop into Wings and Rings located on O Street in Meridian Park and 40th and Old Cheney in Williamsburg Village. Or place your order online at wingsandrings.com. That's wingsandrings.com, Buffalo Wings and Rings.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your first alert weather forecast tonight, partly cloudy and mild. Overnight lows 55. Sunshine Friday, very nice. Highs in the lower 80s. I'm MTV Chief Forecaster Ken Fountain for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Dave Osted from Osted's Golf. Let us make this your best season yet. Voted a top 100 fitter by Golf Digest, our master fitters have been trained by the same guys that build clubs for PGA pros like Rory, Tiger, DJ, and Jordan. Have old clubs? Trade them in Osted's Value Guide, or have our club specialists get your clubs swinging like new. Go to our website and make your fitting appointment. You're a click away from a better golf game. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
The days of internet contracts and heavy fine print are over. It's time to experience hassle-free service with no contracts or hidden fees. That's the Allo promise. Allo Communications provides fiber internet, TV, and phone services with fair and no-nonsense pricing. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, 24/7 local support 365 days a year, and a monthly bill you can count on. Don't settle for gimmicks. Settle for hassle-free with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/hassle-free.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Joined by Sam Cook, 39 years old from Seward, Jake. Played 16 seasons with Baltimore. Why do you think it worked so well for you in Baltimore?
With
success of our special teams over the 16-year career. Never left the field without feeling like I got something out of it each day. And I always try to find a way to make sure I got each day got better.
Early Break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money. But like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It is time to play Shootout with Strick here on the block. Your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Give us a call right now, 402-464-5685. And the first to do so will get a chance to play this year's trivia, or not this year, this Shootouts trivia, I suppose, is 2014, the year of which we are focused on. So give us a call, 402-464-5685.
I gotta be scared of Strick.
Yeah, you don't have to be scared of Strick. I know he hasn't played, so he's well rested. Well, maybe not as well rested, but
Strick, I will tell you though, Bach has yet to lose Shootout with Bach. Kind of impressive.
Hey. It is true. I filled in admirably for
you. Yeah. We already know, Nate, why that happened.
You think he set me up a little bit easier? That's what people on text line were saying too, is that maybe my questions were a little bit easier. But in any case, I'll take my victories. It works for me. As I think we do have somebody ready to go here on Shootout with Strick. Again, the year 2014 is our focus today. Jared, how are you doing? You a big fan of the year 2014?
Yeah. That was actually the year I graduated.
Hey, there you go. See, so you were paying attention in 2014. So hang on just a second. We'll get Strick's score, and then we'll go to Jared and see who gets the win today. Strick's first, now defending home court now that he's back home. Strick, you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. This Eagles quarterback wins Pro Bowl MVP. Nick Foles or Donovan McNabb?
McNabb.
It was Foles. He becomes the NFL all-time holder for MVPs. Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, record holder?
Peyton Manning.
It was Peyton Manning. This Is How We Roll by this artist would be the song of the year in 2014. Kenny Chesney or Luke Bryan?
Chesney.
It was Luke Bryan. He wins his second Masters Championships. Vijay Singh or Bubba Watson?
Singh.
It was Watson. This team wins their third World Series title in 5 seasons.
10, Marlins.
It was actually the Giants. So you finish with 1 point, which is
I'm sleepy, bro.
At least, yeah. I said you were well rested, but that's the opposite of it. Nate's laughing over there.
I'm sleepy, bro. You caught me sleepwalking. I feel like not the Night of the Living Dead. Which one is it? Walking Dead.
Yeah, one of those zombies out there. Plus, he's throwing country music. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know that.
I know how he does. See, he set you up with your genre. He said you had all of the right songs, Slipknot and all those. It was all for you. Yep, hey, I know how you do it.
All right, let's go over to Jared. Jared, you just have to get 1 to tie, 2 to win. All right,
I'm for the people, Jared.
Alrighty.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. He ends his time with The Tonight Show. Jay Leno or Conan O'Brien?
Jay Leno.
That is correct. He signs a 5-year contract to become the president of the Knicks. Pat Riley or Phil Jackson?
Phil Jackson.
That is correct as well. This becomes the first video to reach 2 billion views on YouTube. Harlem Shake or Gangnam Style?
Gangnam Style.
Yeah, there you go. And this Kansas Ford is taken first overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Andrew Wiggins or Joel Embiid?
The first one.
That is correct. It is the first one. Andrew Wiggins. And this Pacers forward suffers a gruesome leg injury in the Team USA practice.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's too late anyway. In any case, you got 4 points. Well,
that George?
A lot more than you need. Yeah, that was Paul George.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah, you needed
Nate,
that question.
I'm telling you, bro. Freaking Nate, bro.
In any case, it doesn't matter.
Back to Nebraska, Strick.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
At least welcoming you
for
back.
the people. Hey, listen, I'm thanks for the welcome. Congratulations, you beat my tail, and you get a good boom shakalaka. There you go. You get it.
Give me a hell yeah. I said, give me a hell yeah.
There you go, Jared, with the victory today. And we're not going to ask you to talk trash because you already welcomed Strick in. So thanks for calling in today, and congratulations on your win. As Nate will get your number there in the other studio. So Jared gets the win. That's all right. It's a good start. It's a good start here. We'll take a quick break here on the block. When we come back, plenty to talk about. The finals start tonight, so definitely interested in that. Also, some interesting couple guys retiring in the NFL today, and as always, just a lot of talking going on in college football across maybe down there in the SEC. So we'll talk about some of that stuff coming up next year on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The days of internet contracts and heavy fine print are over. It's time to experience hassle-free service with no contracts or hidden fees. That's the Allo promise. Allo Communications provides fiber internet, TV, and phone services with fair and no-nonsense pricing. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, 24/7 local support 365 days a year, and a monthly bill you can count on. Don't settle for gimmicks. Settle for hassle-free with Allo. Visit us at allofiber.com/hassle-free.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Your first alert weather forecast tonight, partly cloudy and mild. Overnight lows 55. Sunshine Friday, very nice. Highs in the lower 80s. I'm MTV Chief Forecaster Ken Fountain for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! You're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega, and I like Pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Hold up.
We are back here on the block on a Thursday. So thanks to Kevin Meyer of Meyer's Cork and Bottle for stopping us in and letting us taste some delicious wine and beer today. Strick, you still got some of that wine that you might be sipping on throughout the remainder of the show, so that'll be nice.
Throughout the remainder of the show, I think I'm going to take care of this.
Yeah.
I mean, I thank him for leaving it because I think that was a phenomenal blend of wine.
Oh,
I'm not a big cab guy, because I think it's sometimes just a little too dry, but that went really smooth.
Oh yeah, and just delicious. I mean, that's a great one. It's kind of interesting today. A few different guys in the NFL calling it a career. We'll get to the big one here in a second. Alex Mack, a Niners center, is retiring after 13 seasons, 7 Pro Bowls with 3 separate teams. So great career there. Ryan Fitzpatrick calls it a career. He started for all 9 teams that he played for, which is an NFL record. Never made the playoffs. He was always kind of that fill-in quarterback, I suppose. He had a few years there in Buffalo where I think they had a chance to get kind of close, but ultimately, obviously, going up against the Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in that division at that time. But the Fitzmagic was fun when it happened. It was just never postseason Fitzmagic.
Yeah,
but
I love the beard too. It reminds me of you a little bit.
Yeah, I got to grow it out a little more.
Started,
yeah, but I got to go and I got to start. Maybe I can bring my own magic into the studio here. But the biggest one, I think, is Frank Gore. Frank Gore is retiring, the NFL's 3rd all-time leading rusher. And what I always find fascinating about Frank Gore is, well, for one, he's 39 years old. That's a heck of a start, a career for a running back. You usually get a 3 to 4 year window with those guys. He was a 3rd round pick in 2005, played a majority of his career, obviously, with the 49ers. He's going to sign a 1-day contract with them to end up retiring. What do you think about is his longevity enough to get him? I mean, he's the number 3 all-time leading rusher. Is that enough to get him to the Hall of Fame? Or because he didn't peak so much. I mean, he had 1 second-team All-Pro. It's a heck of a year in 2006. 5 Pro Bowls, which is solid. Not always going to guarantee you.
Who we talking about?
Frank Gore.
Oh, Frank Gore.
Yeah.
Great longevity.
Yeah.
And did it in multiple. Yeah, I mean, I just think he was solid, right? He was
always solid.
He was just solid as a rock. I mean, you knew what you were getting out of Frank Gore, and then every now and then, I think even with bad lines, he still made it look good. Not Barry Sanders-ish, where Barry Sanders was just freaking great no matter what. He wasn't shifty, but I mean, he got you that 3, that 4 when you needed it. He was just solid. I mean, if you needed 6 and it was crucial and it was time for it, he would get it for you. That's what I thought of Frank Gore.
Yeah.
I just thought he was just solid. I thought he had the greatest name. You know who he looked like to me, though? You remember Goro?
From like Mortal Kombat.
From Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
He just reminded me of Goro.
Yeah.
Like when I thought of Gore, I looked at Goro and they just that the funny face he just kind of had,
A few less arms, I suppose.
Yeah,
than Goro,
a little more arms Goro had. But other than that, Goro was just real stout and just tough and just hard to beat. Because I remember fighting him on Mortal Kombat. I just couldn't beat him, so I just quit. And that's what I felt like, Gore was. He was just solid.
I just find it interesting.
I think he gets in.
Yeah, I think he does too. But he only had 1 year where he was over 12. I think we had 1 year where he's had 1,211. That was the second highest total as far as rushing. He had the 1 year, like we said, second team All Pro, where he had almost 1,700 yards. Never more than 10 touchdowns rushing. I mean, so it's kind of one of those situations where
I think he enveloped too.
Yeah.
I mean, developed, meaning that he came in hard-nosed rusher. He came in. He was a bell cow back. Then he started working. His hands got better. Like he when he was early on, that wasn't like a signature thing for him. Catching out of the backfield. So I thought he just progressed his game a lot.
Yeah.
I thought later in his game he'd catch out of the backfield and get you something.
Yeah, so I mean, I do think he'll make it. I just find it fascinating because I always have that one that that kind of the way that I like to measure it. If I don't know if you should be a Hall of Fame if you're never sustainably, I suppose, a top 5 player at your position. I always see Frank Gore as like the 10th best running back in the league, or somewhere around there. And obviously, a little bit less in the later years, but the longevity is probably going to be enough to get him there. Like we said, number 3 all time, 16,000 total yards rushing for him throughout his career. And obviously, too, was part of that Miami team that had just like all the great running backs. And Nebraska knows well because they played him in the 2001 championship game. Ended up being the 2002 Rose Bowl. But was that Clinton Portis and Najee Davenport and I try to remember who else was Willis McGahee and Frank Gore. Could do worse for a college running back.
I mean, Jeremy on the text line, basically, I think he throws this out there. I think it's worth us noting. He says, if Frank Gore gets in, Chuck Foreman and Roger Craig needs to get in first. How do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Those are the ones that are always kind of left out. And you kind of think, well, when are they going to get their opportunity? I could definitely, kind of agree with that. Roger Craig kind of changed the way that we looked at running. I was talking about getting, a running back getting catches out of the backfield. So, yeah, and Foreman just long overdue. So it's kind of interesting. It's one of those things. Maybe you don't want to get to the place of a Hall of Fame, just like bring them all in, bring everybody in. But it seems to be a weird line drawn in the sand there for Roger Craig and Foreman.
Shout outs to everybody that's sending in to the text line, welcoming me back. I appreciate that. Kirk from Georgia, I passed through Georgia, so shout out to you. Thanks for that. Now, Bach, I don't understand this one before we go on to the next one.
Okay.
Somebody, Joe P on the text line says, who's your guy's favorite MK player?
Oh, he's going back to Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
okay. I was like, who is that? What is MK? MK Ultra? I don't know. What is MK?
So you got like
Bach?
Liu Kang or Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade. Try to think of the Sub-Zeros in there.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, you go with yours first.
It's kind of how Sticky was. Sticky. Get over here!
Scorpion, yeah.
Scorpion, baby. That was
Can't go wrong.
Get over here.
Yeah.
I loved him. I loved his finishing moves. To me, it was just, dynamic.
I would
and
say
then when he took his head mask
off.
Oh,
yeah,
and
he's a skeleton. Yeah, that was very cool.
Scorpion.
I liked his I think I would like to probably Sub-Zero. I always like kind of the freezing.
I knew he was going to go
the opposite.
I knew he was going to be the opposite of me. That's why we need to have a Stricky and Bach grudge match in here.
And shootout.
And yes, in a shootout. Just every once a month, we need to have a Stricky Bach shootout. And we need to have Nate Dogg read the questions and somebody else to do the questions because Nate Dogg gives all the good questions to Bach.
There's actually also been, it's kind of interesting. There's been
a conspiracy. It's one in here. Yeah. Every time, I'm telling you, Nate Dogg sets it off. It's X-Files up in here.
Well, I appreciate it. It helps me get the wins. There's been an interesting how he's waving his head over there. It's interesting because there's been callings for boxing matches, not celebratory boxing matches here at the Ticket, where Nate might take on Nick if they get to 10 wins. And now Jay Foreman and Sip got into it this morning. Sipple, who has a boxing background, so we might have to find you a sparring partner before.
It's a negative, unless the only way Stricky is getting in the ring is if it's going to be not Logan Paul, but if it's going to be against
Jake Paul,
Floyd, money-making Mayweather. He just did one that he made 50 stacks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm only getting in and taking 10.
I
don't need 50. Just give me 10. I'll go round for round, blow for blow, and even fall for 10.
He probably won't knock you out. He's a defensive boxer.
Yeah, but I will still take the fall because I know 3 minutes of them rounds, I will be dead tired. Would you get in there with Mike Tyson?
No.
For the stacks?
Well, yeah, actually, I'd get knocked out.
You get in there
for $10 million, yeah,
and fall like what's the guy that got in and what was his name? He had a brother, Spinks.
Oh yeah,
not Michael, but the other one. He got in there, and I swear Mike Tyson missed him, and he fell for the millions. That's how I'm falling. I'm going out for the millions.
I wonder
Mike Tyson
how
swings.
often.
I don't care if Buck. You see the people on the streams can't see how far Baca is away from me. If Mike Tyson missed from the distance that Baca and I are right now, like he's beyond my hand reach.
Mm-hmm.
So if he missed, I'm falling as if the wind knocked me out. Just the wind of the blow, I'm going down.
You're taking the fall. I wonder how often that's happened in boxing.
I guarantee you it happens more than you think.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Floyd Mayweather is one thing. Mike Tyson, could actually probably kill someone with his bare hands.
That's
so I'm
why
probably
the dude
not
is
getting in the ring.
Nate Dogg.
Yeah.
That's why the idiot that was messing with Mike Tyson on the plane is absolutely idiotic and stupid.
Like he could legitimately kill you.
Facts.
Like Mike Tyson is today. And have you seen? They have YouTube videos. I swear, every year of him, how fast his hands are. I know it's crazy. So no, Mike Tyson is where I draw the line because I actually want to get out of the ring alive.
But for $10 million,
no, he literally might kill you.
I get $10 million.
Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, sure.
Nate Dogg, here I got something for you. Me with MMA gloves, Mike Tyson with the big, the ones that they give you for the kid, the big gloves that's about as big as
I know what you're saying.
Your half of your body.
Right.
Yeah. If he has those gloves on, I'll step in the ring with Mike Tyson.
All right. I'd probably do the same. But then how are you going to make the money?
I'm making the money because it's a clown show.
he's still taking the fall.
I'm taking the fall. Even still.
But no, I'm assuming this came up because Nick and the Nick boxing match is still on the cards. But Nick won't accept.
Nick's not going to do it.
I've said I would.
You're into, even though he's got a job in news, so he.
That's the thing is I got to protect my face. I got the moneymaker, and I'm still.
He's still into it. Why not?
Raise some money for charity or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Only charity Stricky is doing is if it's Floyd Money Mayweather. He just made 50 stacks, bro. Yeah. He stepped on. I didn't even know it was on.
It was like an exhibition.
It
right?
was an
He didn't
exhibition.
want it in his record.
Yes.
Well, did he win?
Yeah, I think
50 stacks, bro. Would you step in there with Frank Gore? Did you see
Oh,
Frank
yeah.
Gore
I did
just
see
sleep
that.
the last dude? I mean, there's a song out there that says A up, phase down.
Oh yeah.
That's how he laid that cat out.
Oh
bro.
yeah.
See, I'll get for $10 million. I'll get knocked out. That's fine. I'd do it for a lot less than $10 million. But to actually put my life on the line, I don't know about that. Like legitimately, Mike Tyson, even at his age, if you were opened up and your hands weren't up and he had a full swing and he hit you in the right spot, he could kill you.
Well, I'm going with the high guard.
The whole time. You
And
got to.
I'm going to allow him to
the
hit.
body shot.
I'm going to let him hit me with the body shot.
You're going to break a rib.
Have you seen those anime videos where they show the guys when they're hitting their bodies and they show the inside just breaking all
Oh,
around?
yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would feel.
That's what
But
would
I would straight go down and I would be kidney stone peeing for the
For the money though.
for the money.
For the money, though.
For
See,
the
there you go.
cashola.
There you go.
As long as I don't get slept like Nate Robinson.
Oh yeah.
That was bad.
As
Was
long-
it? And that was one of the Paul brothers, wasn't it? I don't even know who is who
No,
at this
I
point.
don't
Don't
think
they
it was-
both box?
I don't think it was a
I don't
Paul
know.
brother.
I think they
It
both-
might have been a Paul brother.
Now I would fight one of them. Absolutely, I'd lose, but I'd take the
Yeah,
money.
those guys are
They
pretty
make
good.
a lot of
They
money
make
doing
a
that
lot of
too.
money, bro.
I'm pretty sure they're just YouTube guys. I
just
don't even know what their deal
understand,
is.
bro. I don't listen. Did you
Yeah, it was
see
Jake Paul that knocked
Was
out
Jake
Jake.
Did
Paul?
you
Yeah.
see Gervonta Davis?
I did not.
Oh my god.
Big Baby Davis is supposedly going to be doing.
Oh,
it.
negative.
Yeah.
I won't be watching that one. But listen, I'm an MMA guy now.
Okay.
But I literally, before I left, they had like a little get together at a spot. We went in there, had some hookah, some, a few drinks,
Nice.
and they had to fight. And I'm watching this guy that he fought Romero or something like that. And I'm watching him, you know how they show him in the locker room and they're kind of showing hitting the bags
Yeah.
and stuff like that. he was so stiff. He had no fluidity to him. And I'm like, this cat's going to sleep. Because if you're going to fight Gervonta Davis without any fluidity and he can see all your punches and just set you up, and he was getting to him, but he found him on the ring. Gervonta slips left as he was about to throw a punch, and he threw the quickest left hook that I've seen with power that I haven't seen since Roy Jones Jr. You know how Roy used to throw them real quick snap hooks? He threw it so quick to the left as he was sliding down the ring, and the guy stepped in and he slept him where he went through the boom. He went through the ring like,
oh my.
Good night, baby. Go seepy.
Yeah.
Night night. Yeah, put the bottle in the thumb, the binky. Yeah, that part. He's out of there.
Yeah, and then Jim Gray had to calm Gervonta Davis down in the post-match interview. It was not situational awareness wasn't there for him, but at least he is a good fighter. So there is that much for him. Real quick before we get into hitting the hardwood, Ohio State, Ryan Day was speaking. They're kind of, all these coaches now are kind of doing these conventions or whatever to try to boost up their NIL. Ohio State, Ryan Day said they believe they need $13 million in NIL money to keep the football roster together.
My gosh.
Pay for play, Buck. This is what I've been telling you. This is the rabbit hole that you wanted with the NIL.
I did want it, and I love it, and I'm enjoying it.
Whoa.
No.
Right. So
this
basically
isn't amateur athletics anymore.
So what you're saying, no, it's not.
It's not.
So
no,
what you're
and it
saying,
hasn't been for years, so I'm glad that that fluke of it being amateur athletics is gone now.
So $5 million to the quarterback or $3 million to the quarterback and 10 for the rest of the team?
Yeah, it depends on how you break it up.
Because it's going to be Raiola is going to be in that too now.
Yeah?
He's probably going to demand about 5.
Well, freaking my guy in Texas took part of that too.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers.
They had got $2 million of that. Like that's the part right there that throws me for the loop. Is you've got these cats that are getting. This is what we've talked about on the block. You've got to figure out a way to minimize it in the recruiting process,
right?
Because otherwise, cats just do Quinn Ewer moves, bounce back, and you double up the bag. Because he got it in Texas too. Stop it. If you're on the
Texas
line right now,
definitely
and you don't think he hit the lick also in Texas, please stop.
He just launched his NIL. He keeps a lot of them quiet, but this one he's got a partnership with Fortnite. Quinn Ewers does, him and Xavier Worthy. So yeah, there you go. Apparently Fortnite's doing one where you can't build anything. I like building in Fortnite, but in any case,
well, you can't. What do you mean? You can't build and lock somebody in?
You can't build like the blocks and so I guess
that's the best part.
That's taking that part out.
Trap somebody and get them trapped.
It's the fun part of it. But to launch that, they hired Quinn Ewers and Xavier Worthy to say they play it basically and have their own little commercial. So
is that all I got to do? Is just say I played it?
Honestly,
and don't play no Fortnite. Let me go down there and have a conversation with Trev Albers. And, I know I've got a little eligibility yet. Maybe not. Maybe not in.
You got your COVID year.
Maybe, yes.
You got your COVID year. There you go.
Maybe not in basketball, but let me, sneak out there and get a shot for about 5 minutes in football.
Well,
the oldest football player in the history of the world. And I wouldn't play. I would be defense because they need defensive linemen. So I'd back up O'Shawn Mathis and just one play a game for the UIL money.
Well, remember, it's not Trev that you would be talking to because the university has nothing to do with it.
Right, yeah.
Scott Frost.
The university has nothing to do with it. Right?
Yeah.
Let me go have
Despite the fact that the coaches are now coming out and asking the boosters to prop up the NIL, but that's what it is, and that's probably a modest number, to be honest, from Ohio State. They're not like nose deep in NIL as much as everybody else. Their goal, I guess, is kind of toe the line of like play the game, but not get in trouble when all this stuff kind of gets
so what is happening
the restrictions
then,
come down.
What is happening with the collectives? Has there anything come down from the NCAA on that
Not yet, and that's what's basically that's kind of like the problem. I suppose people would a lot of people have a problem with the collectives because that can lead to recruiting more so than what NIL is there for originally. But that's what Nebraska's strength is they've got some, they got a good collective going for them. So, and it's that's what I like about it. And people, other than the fact that players finally get paid and all that, and I know that's not the problem that most people have with it, but what I do like about it is the teams that are that have collectives ready are the teams that I want to see get back into being good. And that's when I like college football, is when USC is good, when Texas is good, Texas A&M, Nebraska, Miami. These are the traditional powers that have the money, haven't found the right coaches, haven't found the right combination. And so they've kind of been dormant for years, but maybe this could be what leads some of those powers back.
Text line says what you said is no longer the what's my guy? John in Cortland. Is no longer NCAA amateur hour. It is now collegiate NFL, basically.
Yeah.
Or
it is
collegiate NBA, basically.
And listen, I have no problem, like Bach said, I have no problem with the players getting paid. They should have been paid a long time ago. I have a problem
I think
with
it's stipend.
But it's basically just becoming free agency. And that's not what college athletics is. These kids are still going there for school. And that's been completely lost in translation. Like,
you could have given them a stipend, bro, across the board. Even if it was,
but why should a guy
$3,000 to $5,000 a month? No, I'm
why
saying
should a guy have to go to school if he's
that part?
I don't understand.
And I agree with that too. But unfortunately,
maybe NFL, you can have a scholarship or the stipend. I don't care whether you go to school or not. That's your decision. But there's a lot of guys that don't need to.
But
be
if you decide to go to school, but if you do decide to go to school, you still have to follow the rules that come with going to that school. And you have to meet the GPA requirements, and you have to abide by the rules. That's just how it works.
But that's old. But you can't. That's grandfathered in.
But if you're in the NBA, trust me, when it comes to basketball, I think they should automatically be able to go. Baseball, I think you should be able to go to the minor leagues. Football, think of a nightmare that would be for the NFL if an 18-year-old is going up against a 29-year-old grown man. You're going to have injuries left and right. I mean, in the football, it's just not realistic. You can't throw an 18-year-old out there with a bunch of grown men. They're going to get hurt.
There's no idea.
They're going to get hurt.
Why are you bringing that up?
No, Bach, you can't.
But I was a grown man at I was a grown man at 18.
Right, yeah.
But there are some kids.
Jadeveon Clowney.
6'3".
But why do you think 18-year-olds are going to go up against 29-year-olds because of NIL?
No, I'm saying if you have that rule where you can go immediately to the NFL, because that's going to happen, and kids are just going to end up getting hurt.
I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the college system has been grandfathered in, and it's that's what it was from the beginning. So I don't have any beef with it. But I mean, the college football has become too big to even group it in with these other sports. To say, well, the scholarship distribution here and there, and have all this other stuff coming in on it. I just don't understand why it has to be still connected to the university, and we do this facade that everybody there, nobody has a bad grade and everybody's doing great. It's false to begin with.
But I think that's not good though, Bach, because look, at the end of the day, these kids in college, 2% will go to play professional football. And that's the thing that's lost, is you're still given an opportunity to get a college education at the end of the day. Like, that's the problem, is why are we all talking about NIL and professional? At the end of the day, 2% of these kids are going to be making big money and going to the professional and playing in the NFL.
And it's about
and those other 98% kids are going to end up having a college education.
When it's less than the 10% that is getting the money in NIL. I mean, there are people getting gift cards and $100 or whatever, but the NIL, the big numbers are going to.
Okay, but then what happens when that kid blows out his knee and can't play anymore? But then what? But he doesn't have an education, because you're saying that should be set aside. At least at the end of the day, you're giving an education.
I said
you're giving that valuable asset that now when you blow out your knee, you still have an education from Nebraska. You still have an education from an Alabama, an Ohio State. You're still able to use that on a resume moving forward in life. That's the issue that I have.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I think it should be optional. I don't think everybody should be forced in a traditional school, because I've seen it before. I went to college. Not all the athletes are
this is what's going on right now.
Earning those degrees to begin with.
First round.
What do you think, Strick? Strick, you were there. I mean, you played in a time when NIL wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, does the education aspect of it have any type of value?
I mean, I think if you come to a collegiate institution, regular students must go to class and they must adhere, or they go on probation just like anybody else, right? I think you still have to adhere to those rules, still have to be a part of that process. I think there's so much that is gleaned from a college experience. The reason being is you're only going to play sports for so long. In football, it might be 4 years, maybe, if that. You're going to live so much more of your life outside of the sport that it teaches you all of those different things that you need to learn in life. Discipline, understanding that, yes, you get a syllabus. You've got a certain amount of time that needs to be acquired to read or to write your papers. And then it teaches you how to balance that skill of understanding that I work better with piecemealing it, doing a little bit, or I work better under wraps 3 days before. You learn all of those things so you know how to apply yourself, whether you're building your own business or you're doing, or you're working for somebody in business where you're going to have those things that you learn in college. That's why I think you learn so much more in that process as opposed to just playing the sport. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And certainly I'm not downplaying college, although, the cost of college has gone up quite a bit. Not everybody's getting what they want out of their degree to begin with, but that's for another day. I'm just saying that football is too big to be tied into college because it's a facade to begin with.
And I'd agree, and I would agree with that. And I think that's part of the problem. Yeah. I do agree with that. Do you think there's ever a situation where a USFL could be a minor league football? So these guys skip college football and they go directly to the pros, but it's a minor league.
They could, but the problem with that is that you don't have a built-in fan base. I mean, that's what the USFL is dealing with right now.
Right.
Is, I can talk about things being grandfathered in or whatever, but it is what it is for more than 100 years. They've developed these fan bases and there's traditions and local ties, and people feel like they're part of it because they went to that college and all that stuff. So you could start a league. It just would probably go on the wayside like every other, league that competes.
The NFL would have to back it like the NBA backs the G League. It would have to be something like that for it to be successful.
It does. And here, but this is the scarier part about that, right? We see a lot of things, and let's be real on the block today. We see what happens to a lot of families, to a lot of marriages, in situations when the lights turn off, when the game is ended.
Mm-hmm.
And you understand you go from making, $1 million, $2 million, $5 million to zero. And from that point on, everything starts draining. So if you haven't built a skill, if you haven't learned a trade, if you haven't understood or networked, those are the things that you get out of college is networking. Right. If you haven't built any of that and you find yourself going back to or relying on the homeboy hookup or where people are able to steal from you, thief from you, snake from you, take from you, then you're going to find yourself in a worse off. I mean, we see the stories all the time.
Right.
They turn to, the hood actions, the drugs and the robberies. And we see a lot of athletes that find themselves in these situations. So I think we have to do better at training them trade-wise, teaching them about financial literacies. All of these things, just not to be talked about or spewed out or thrown out in like the pre-draft stuff. I think they need to do this in colleges. I mean, I'm not going to learn anything about no trigonometries and no, stuff like that in high school. Teach financial literacy so people really understand what to do with the money and when it comes to them. Even these kids now getting this big UIL money, if they have parents that have never had it, what can their parents teach them? They'll end up finding themselves in the worst situation when they could have been set if they would have set it up the right way.
Yeah, and that's one of the fears that people have with it. But hopefully, you can't prepare everybody for the big break in life. Hopefully, they're able to take advantage of it, and we'll see how it kind of turns out in the coming years. We'll take a quick break here on the block. When we come back, it's time for Hitting the Hardwood. NBA Finals Game 1 is tonight. Let's get it going. Can Steph Curry change his standing in the all-time discussion with the championship here? Let's talk about that coming up next year on the block at 93.7 The Ticket.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
Hi, this is Dave Osted from Osted's Golf. Let us make this your best season yet. Voted a top 100 fitter by Golf Digest, our master fitters have been trained by the same guys that build clubs for PGA pros like Rory, Tiger, DJ, and Jordan. Have old clubs? Trade them in Osted's Value Guide, or have our club specialists get your clubs swinging like new. Go to our website and make your fitting appointment. You're a click away from a better golf game. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit managerbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can step, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can step, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket, and we're ready to talk some NBA Finals. It's time for Hitting the Hardwood with Strick. Now in studio, it is game one. You better watch out spraying things around your drink. Make sure it doesn't get in your drink there. But it is time for Hitting the Hardwood. So game one of the Finals is tonight. And first of all, what do you think about the matchup? You think it's even? It's because we've been seeing a lot of different metrics have, like the BPI or whatever, different metrics they throw out there, heavy on the Celtics. But then Vegas really likes the Warriors. So where do you kind of come down to that? A lot of people, I at least expect a pretty competitive series with two even teams, as I see it.
I would have to agree. I think Boston can't rely on what transpired in the previous series, not the one, just only the one before it, but where you just lay eggs at home and think you're going to go on the road and just do your damage. I think there are going to be changes in the approaches to games. It's not going to be a single metric to get things done. Meaning they're going to be different things thrown out there. Right now, I think this is going to start with Kevon Looney. I think it's going to start with Draymond, Kevon, Poole, Thompson, and Steph, right? I think that's how they're going to start it off. I think Boston will probably start it off with Brown, Tatum, Smart, Williams the third.
Yeah, Time Lord, Robert Williams.
Robert Williams the third. And because I think they're going to try to take advantage, if he's healthy, they're going to try to take advantage of that size and to keep them very perimeter driven. So they're going to want to keep that. And I think I want to say they're going to probably go with Grant Williams.
I think he's a great matchup for Draymond.
I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think they'll wash each other out. Yeah. Right. And so off of that, what we see tonight is going to be determining factors on who we think we'll see in different times throughout this series.
Do you think that there's a strong edge to the fact that Golden State's played in these finals before and Boston hasn't? And if so, is that any longer than the first few minutes tonight? Because as I see it, Boston's really battle tested in the playoffs. Maybe not at this stage, but they just played 2 Game 7s. It's not like they're not in the most serious situations that you can be in as a team.
Well, again, you've got to remember that they had very good hard lessons that they learned by losing Game 7s and losing series in the past, right? Yeah. Those are all experiences. Pretty much those are the same teams that are there. I'm going to tell you that the X factor for me for Boston is Al Horford. Because he struggled in Game 7, the last game. Mm-hmm. If Al Horford can give me 2 games with some consistency in shooting, because he plays good defense, he's solid. He can also handle Draymond. So I would like to see him come off the bench initially to allow him to not have to pressure, relax, come in, get in that corner, hit a couple, and get going, but he plays starter minutes, but he doesn't have that, I've got to do this early on or waste energy early on. I want him to be fully ready because 7-game series are a mother, with not only the pressure mentally, all of that, but you're also the physical aspects. I mean, just think about who he had to battle. Giannis, you know what I mean? That right then, there's carryover from that. I don't care what anybody says, having to battle that man for 7 games of constant pressure in the open court, in the half court, and he's handling the ball because Chris Middleton's not there. So that's a wear and tear on a person. So hopefully they've got enough rest. They've got a couple days. I think if Boston comes out and shocks them this first game, I think we're going 7, and I like Boston's chances.
I will say this: Jason Tatum does have a game here and there where he doesn't go off, and I don't know if Boston has, and sometimes Brown can cover for that. But I think that you might see one of those this series. Andrew Wiggins has shown to be a pretty good defender, so I mean, I think that can happen. But what I really can't wait to see is Marcus Smart and Steph Curry. I mean, you've got a generational talent in Steph Curry, the defensive player of the year, the first one as a guard since Gary Payton in that matchup. And I've been saying it all along, I really want to see Marcus Smart very good at getting to the post if he's got a matchup that he likes, and Curry certainly is that. Could create some open twos or try to get Curry in trouble down there.
It's different because the way that they did it, they can't avoid it with him. Because if they switch, you're looking at Tatum Brown, even Grant Williams. You're looking at a beat-up party for Steph throughout the series.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to try to keep him on Smart. Smart has to punish him. See, they got away with it in the Dallas series because Dallas, they tried to do it with Jalen Brunson. He's just not that same physical presence. And they did a good job of not switching onto Luka. So they had a game plan for that. I don't think they have that same game plan. And if I'm Marcus Smart, I am punishing. Every time I'm not only in the post, but on rebounds. Because Golden State is anybody push team. They're not find Steph or find their Kevon Looney, their Wiggins, their, you know what I mean? There's whoever gets the ball roll. They're Draymond Green, whoever, they're that. So you can really don't have to normal defensive tactics of having to get back as a point guard. You want to try to use that type of balance, but if I'm them, I'm changing that balance. I'm trying to kill the boards with Williams, Horford, and the other Williams, the third. I'm using those three, and I'm not even using Tatum. I'm using Jaylen Brown in situational crashes, and I'm using Tatum chill. Always chill. Tatum's always back, right, for defensive presence. But if I'm Marcus Smart, I'm down there. I'm putting elbows in back, shoulders in back, knees in butt. I'm doing everything to physically just wear him out. If I'm Marcus Smart.
Yeah, I can't wait for the series. I hope for everybody's sake that there aren't too many injuries in this. Obviously, the Warriors, last time they were in the finals, Klay Thompson getting injured, KD going down. That was a big story.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's not part of it. But in any case, we'll wrap up things here coming up next year. And we'll talk a little bit more about the finals and maybe about LeBron James becoming the first NBA active player worth $1 billion per forward. So we always used to say the guys on the court are the millionaires, but the guys above them are the billionaires. Well, now there's a billionaire on the court. How does that change things? We'll talk about that coming up next year on The Block of 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Your first alert weather forecast tonight, partly cloudy and mild. Overnight lows 55. Sunshine Friday, very nice. Highs in the lower 80s. I'm MTV Chief Forecaster Ken Fountain for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here's your binky, buddy. We'll be home soon.
You'd never give your baby a pacifier that has cigarette ash on it. But if you're smoking around your kids, it's kind of like that. Secondhand smoke contains thousands of toxic chemicals that can have a lasting effect on your child's health. Protect your children. Don't smoke around them or any child.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit line. 1-800-QUIT-NOW. 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Dave Osted from Osted's Golf. Let us make this your best season yet. Voted a top 100 fitter by Golf Digest, our master fitters have been trained by the same guys that build clubs for PGA pros like Rory, Tiger, DJ, and Jordan. Have old clubs? Trade them in Osted's Value Guide, or have our club specialists get your clubs swinging like new. Go to our website and make your fitting appointment. You're a click away from a better golf game. Play better, have fun, and shop Osted's.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up things here on the block. Strick is in town. He's made it to Nebraska, so we're very happy. It was our first show with him in studio. And so I want to read off something somebody sent here on the text line. You can always jump into our conversations, 402-464-5685. We have a text coming in saying, "Welcome home, Strick. I'm all about Boston winning it all, but I think you guys are giving Smart too much credit. He's at times lazy with the ball and tends to make bad decisions. He's a good player, but Steph will hold his own against him. But Boston in 6. So he just doesn't have quite as much faith in Smart. And certainly he can be frustrating at times, but he's gotten so much better. There was a time when he would really frustrate me with the Celtics, but he's gotten so much better over the years. But yeah, I mean, he'll have turnovers and things like that, like every player does. And he's also kind of the guy. People kind of get frustrated at the end of a game 6 loss because he took like their final 10 shots, but that's because they were doing everything to make sure Tatum and Brown don't get the final shot. So it's, if you got a wide open shot, you can't pass it up. You got to take it.
Yeah. And I think he got a lot of, crap about the 2 times where he had the ball in the last, seconds of the game and got stripped and, then he got blocked, so
Drew Holiday
did that was
do
perfect.
a great job on him. Yeah.
So there are people looking at those situations. So listen, if they're leaving you and you're the guy, you've got to change the game. You've got to change basically the scouting report and game plan. And if they're leaving you and they're focusing on 2 others because the game plan is to take Tatum out, you're going to get inconsistency with Brown. So if you're going to get inconsistency, take out Tatum, you're going to win a couple of games. That's the way I think.
Let's go to Jim here on the Honda of Lincoln Hotline. Jim, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing better, Bach. You spanked me yesterday in the shootout, but I still bounced back and wanted to call back in.
Oh, yeah, there we go. At least you did that.
Hey, I just wanted to comment, welcome Eric to Lincoln. I graduated from high school in Bellevue a few years before he did. Went to old Bellevue High, and it became Bellevue East. But anyway, we're Bellevue guys, and so I wanted to welcome him back and also comment again about the Boston series. championships because I've been a Boston fan since the 60s.
Wow. Yeah. So you're down with Tommy Heinsohn and my coach, Don Nelson and that whole crew and Hondo and all of them. So yeah, you're down with that crew and Bill. But but Jim, man, thanks.
Bill
I really
Russell,
appreciate.
Casey Jones, Sam
Casey,
Jones.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I actually got to meet Havlicek at a conference years ago. He was signing autographs, and I couldn't believe how big that guy's hands were. He was amazing.
Oh, no question.
I actually got to see Larry Bird play when he was with Indiana State against Creighton at the old Civic Auditorium way back in the day before he faced up with Magic.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Jim, it's always good, man. Thanks for the welcome. And it's always good to shout out to Bellevue guys. I love Bellevue, man. It's been good to me the time that I shared and spent here. So I think I wish they never would have broke it up, man. I wish they would have kept Bellevue together. It would have been a juggernaut to deal with. But we were always separated, so we kind of had to battle that way.
Yeah. And again, thanks for calling in, Jim. Real quickly for this series, a lot of the attention is on a guy that got swept in the first round because of it. Is KD? Is his legacy going to be diminished, do you think, quite a bit if basically it doesn't matter whether it's Harrison Barnes, Andrew Wiggins, or KD, Golden State wins a title with their big three? I've already seen it kind of take hits. KD is usually creeping into that top 10, top 15 discussion when people are doing their all-time greats. He's been falling as of late, maybe because of the Warriors' success this year.
I think so, and I feel bad for him because it's a shift of it. They're trying to say he was the one part of the big three, start of that, but that's not true. That's a LeBron move that started all of that foolishness. So I think KD is KD. His legacy is going to speak for itself. Don't try to attribute that to anything that he's done.
Yeah. We'll see, though. I can't wait for the finals to start. It is tonight. We'll, of course, have plenty of reaction to that. Anything that goes on in Husker sports, or even if something doesn't go on, we'll talk Husker sports tomorrow because we love talking Husker sports. But we'll be back with you on a Friday tomorrow. That wrap it up for On the Block today. Stay tuned for 93.7 The Ticket. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf